Do you guys like pineapple on pizza?
Nah.
No.
Honestly, like...
Yes.
Wait, okay, Charlie actually does.
Charlie.
But what are your feelings on people who like it on pineapple?
Okay,
on
you
pizza?
can like whatever food you want. You can like anchovies and cucumber. I don't care. If you enjoy it, fine. I don't.
You know what, Simon?
What?
I hate pineapples on pizza.
Yeah.
Do you hate people who like pineapple on pizza?
I'm on the line. Welcome back to the
All right.
Great intro.
You guys ready to have your show shut down by the government?
Yeah.
You guys ready to be declared a war crime in 20 countries?
This is the guest we've all been hyped for, boys.
Welcome to the last episode of the Hinkson Christian podcast.
No.
I'm the guest, Anton Keeko.
Wow, I don't even have to introduce you. You just do it yourself.
Introduce yourself.
You're just going at it.
I'm a strong, independent woman. You know
Welcome.
me.
Welcome.
Anton is women, guys.
As long as he identifies
Squad
as
W.
we don't offend anyone.
Hey, let's not get political yet.
All right.
Moses,
Not yet.
please,
Moses,
please,
not yet.
please.
All right, so
I'm ready.
yeah, we've got a couple announcements today. First of all, my new single "Fool" is out on YouTube and SoundCloud.
Go
You guys
download
can-
it.
It's on the description.
Download
The link.
Go
so-
cyberbully him.
Ouch.
Go
But yeah,
leave a meme comment.
Oh, this is the guest we wanted.
Talk about his big nose.
Yeah.
This is
So,
the guest we've all wanted.
Anyway,
Just okay. Go on SoundCloud. Make an account real quick. Find his new single "Fool" by Charlie Frecco, and comment. I can hear your nose in this.
okay. Anyway,
I can listen
so
your nose.
next week is Hell Week, so guys, you just keep that in mind. There's no homework the entire week.
I think most people don't know.
Well, no, it's no homework week
Yeah.
No
for
homework.
everyone else.
For everyone who's not in the play,
It's fun week.
it's no homework.
It's epic week.
Yeah.
For us, it's Hell Week because we have rehearsals till like 8.
Boy,
Eight.
Oh,
guess
yeah.
who's not into play?
But I'm like
for you,
barely in the
Moses.
play. I get the benefits.
I am
of not
very
being
in the
choose.
play. I am the most in the play.
I'm like halfway.
And we'll talk about that.
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
talk about that.
Talk about that.
All right, and last but not least for announcements, this Friday, right?
Yes.
The play is on Thursday and Friday, from what I've been told.
Thursday and Friday. All right.
Yeah, from what I've
Thursday
seen.
and Friday,
At
after
least.
school.
So buy your tickets in the business office, and we'll see you guys
It's
there.
like what, 200 for students, 300 for parents, and adults.
I'm not sure. We'll have to get back to you on
I'll get
that.
it back to you. We'll put the description, but
In
like
the description, yes. That would be
I
great.
Or in
think
the
that's
comment
right.
section.
That sounds right.
There you go. Come there and support us. Moses isn't in it.
Yeah.
But Anton wrote it, and Simon's one of the main actors, and
I am
It is
the
the main
main character.
Yeah.
Well,
don't
and-
downplay it.
Yeah, I'm a dancer.
Me
I'm
and
like a
David over
cameo.
here.
You get to see Charlie's dancing. You get
Yeah.
to see
Oh, yeah.
Simon act.
And you see
You get to
see Fluffy just fluff around.
you get to see me in the audience laughing at them. It'll
Yeah.
be sick. It'll be awesome.
Yes.
Sickly sick.
All right. So for today's topic, we're of course talking about the play. As
Yeah.
I said, Anton wrote
Yes.
it.
Yeah,
so-
Anton, this is like one of the. I think this
sure
is the
did.
first time we had a student write the school play. I feel like,
really?
isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just so unique and talented.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Yeah. So like,
I'm a trendsetter.
first of all,
I'm a pioneer.
I want to hear.
Influencer.
Entrepreneur.
I want to hear like how did that process go? Because like it's got to be really hard to do, right? Like write a whole play like that.
Okay. So, writing the play, there was segments to it.
Yeah.
The first part was brainstorming. Brainstorming. Okay, so ideally, how this would go is brainstorming, then writing, then reworks.
Yeah.
What I did was brainstorming, writing, scrapping, brainstorming, writing,
Scrapping again.
Scrapping.
scrapping,
Yep.
unscrapping,
Uh-huh.
writing, reworks.
Got it.
Ooh.
Rough. That's rough.
So basically, the first part of it was brainstorming. That happened the last month of last year. So like throughout that time, I was going through a bunch of different ideas. My early ideas were stuff about like retellings of classic plays. So this would either be like Shakespeare or whatever, or what I was more passionate about was Russian literature. So it would be Pushkin, it would be Chekhov. I love Chekhov. Yeah, but yeah, I eventually scrapped that idea because I wanted to create a story of my own. And then I watched some philosophy videos because I really am a nerd. Next time you see me, listener, please like take me aside, take me to the bathroom, give me a swirly. Take my lunch money. I deserve it. I deserve it. That
It's
said,
okay. It's okay.
No one deserves it.
there's a philosopher who is popular with hipsters. His name is Albert Camus. He's French.
Dang.
He is part of the existentialist movement, though he himself tried to separate himself from it and call himself an absurdist. Okay,
Oh boy.
this seems not super relevant, but it is. Trust me, I'm getting to it.
My brain's big now.
Yeah, this is an educational show now.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, basically existentialism is this idea that there is no meaning in the universe on its own, but you gotta make your own meaning.
Question.
What's up?
Raising your hand.
Isn't it kind of sounds similar to nihilism?
No.
No?
Nihilism, they draw different conclusions, basically.
Okay.
Nihilism is when you're like, there's no meaning in the universe, so I'm gonna do whatever because nothing matters.
Oh.
Existentialism is this idea of nothing matters to the universe, but stuff still matters to us, so we should, like, decide what we're gonna do with our lives. So, like, I want to be a doctor. That's a meaning of life that you make for yourself. I want to help other people. I want to, I don't know, make the biggest cheese donut.
Cheese donut.
Yep. That's
no,
a
wait,
lot of
that's
meaning.
bagels.
That's the
Or are there
point.
cheese donuts?
This was really philosophical and deep until you got to cheese donut.
Anyway, what I was getting to is Albert Camus. Albert Camus thought that the other existentialists were kind of dorks, and he didn't really like them. He coined this term called the absurd, with a capital A, big A. So what the absurd is the contradiction between the universe's lack of meaning and humanity's desire to find meaning. So he's basically saying, we have this desire to, like, have meaningful lives and to have our life be, like, a coherent narrative,
When there's nothing.
but that's not how it works.
Right.
And that's why many of us are miserable. And he then goes through, in his essay called The Myth of Sisyphus, many of you may have heard of this, he goes through 7 approaches to dealing with the absurd. And I'm not going to go through all of them because it's too much work. There's a good video on YouTube by PhilosophyTube. I think it's titled Waiting for Godot.
Oh yeah.
And Waiting for Godot is a play, and PhilosophyTube is this dude who does philosophy on YouTube. And he analyzes that play through the lens of absurdism, because absurdism caught on, and a lot of people made plays about it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Interesting.
so basically, he categorizes one of the ways of dealing with the absurd as distraction, and that includes both religion and existentialism. He says that both religion and existentialism are like avoiding the question, because this one group says, oh, there is meaning because there's a God, and this other group says, oh, there is meaning because we make it. And he rejects both of those. He says, no, like, neither of those turns your life into a thing that makes sense and has, like, a through line and a goal. And eventually, the one he advocates for is accepting the absurd. Like, realizing this contradiction and just being like, all right, sure, and living in spite of it. There's a quote that I'm going to butcher right now.
Nice.
I'm paraphrasing, basically. He says that you should make your entire life an act of rebellion because you're living in spite of an inhospitable universe.
Very edgy.
And
Very edgy.
most of our audience would not agree with this. I know that most of the audience is Christian. That's chill.
You've already sparked like a big discussion in the comments. I can feel it.
That's chill. That said, though, it is a very interesting, like, work of philosophical writing, though it's a bit dry to sit through, which is why the plays do better. Like, famous absurdist plays are, well, the Russian one is Uncle Vanya by Chekhov, which, like, it's hard to spot at first, but if you know about absurdism, Uncle Vanya goes through step by step with every character trying to deal with the absurd through their own coping mechanism and coming to find it insufficient and being miserable towards the end of it. Except for 2 characters who just accept that, like, they're doing meaningless tasks for the rest of their lives, and that's just how it's going to be.
Wow.
And they're like, they're not happy at the end, but they're like sad, content. It's weird.
That's a cool play, huh?
And the other one is called Waiting for Godot, which I already mentioned. It's these 2 guys, and they're waiting for a third dude named Godot. And he never comes.
Yep.
The whole play is they sit in one place, and they talk about things, and they try to pass the time till he
whole
comes.
play.
He just does not come.
Wow.
Initially, it was actually like booed out of theaters, and they had stuff thrown at them because people just didn't get it.
Wow.
This is like how many years ago?
Oh, this is old. This is. I'm tempted to say 1800s, but I'm probably dumb. Anyway, so yeah, initially, I was going to base my play off this philosophy, and off going through, step by step, these things. The premise was Simon, playing Simon,
Yes.
gets hit by a car.
Uh-huh.
He can't be saved by doctors, so he gets frozen.
Until I can.
Oh.
Yes. And then 200 years later, he gets unfrozen to a totally new world. And because, like, this billionaire dude paid to unfreeze him.
Yeah.
And he's essentially like, oh, I'm really scared of flying, so I'm going to unfreeze you to, like, be my buddy while we fly
All right.
to Pluto.
This is the old version.
Yeah, this is not in the current play. This is an old version.
Yes, yes.
And essentially, the CEO gets in some trouble, so he has to leave, and Simon is left to deliver a suitcase to Pluto by himself. And on the bus to Pluto, because you take a bus to Pluto in space,
Yes.
obviously,
Obviously.
the protagonist, Simon, meets a bunch of different characters who are each trying to cope with the absurd. And, like, one of them is, like, in love with another person and eventually finds it unsatisfying. And then another scene is him, like, getting in the middle of a debate between, like, a priest of some new fancy future religion and, like, a existentialist philosopher dude. And like that. And he finds none of their answers satisfying, and at the end he meets a dude who's just like, I mean, yeah. just like live. Basically, okay, eventually, like, this was the idea until the middle of the summer. This was what I was creating. Then, midsummer, I have this realization. This is too heavy for audiences. Most people are not gonna, like, get this. Also, it's boring because it's mostly dialogue.
Yep.
Also, it's too on the nose. Because it's very blatantly, like, it's just restating the idea. Like, the plays I was borrowing from, Uncle Vanya and
It was too similar.
Waiting for Godot. No, those plays were good because they're not on the nose. They don't spell everything out.
Oh.
They, like,
There's
let
some-
you come to the conclusion. Yes, they have subtext.
Yes.
I didn't have that. I was having people just say these things.
Yeah.
And
That's no good.
that's when I had to go back to brainstorming. Back to the drawing board.
Yes.
And this was a very frustrating point in my life because I felt that I was already way behind schedule in writing this. And I was like, oh, now I have to start from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
And at this point, I went through a number of ideas. One was making this into a love story and making Maria the main character. Because initially, Maria was going to play the character that copes with the absurd through relationships. And I was going to basically, like, just zoom in on that one part of it and expand it into a story. So it's not all over the place, it's one coherent theme. And the conclusion, the message, would essentially be the only person who's always there for you is yourself, so you can't rely on other people for your happiness.
So Tumblr of you.
Well, it was actually inspired by Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh.
Because Neon Genesis Evangelion, once you get through all the weird Christian symbolism and all the weird, like, boss fight robo nonsense,
It's crazy.
once you get past all that, the philosophical idea is an exploration of loneliness and how the only way out of loneliness is that you have to, like,
Love
be a
yourself.
self-sufficient person.
That makes sense, actually, kind of.
Yeah, it's... Wait, have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen it, no.
You should watch it if you are over 18 and have permission from your parent or guardian.
Caution.
I do not condone children under the age of 18 without the permission of their parent or guardian watching Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Spare us, Fox Media. Anyway.
That said, so yeah, that was what I was going to do. And I started doing some script rewrites, and there's like 1.5 scenes available that I actually wrote out where it's like, it's a similar story of Maria is like running to school in the morning, she gets hit by a car, she wakes up in the future, except this time it's because her, like, descendants became super rich. Not her descendants, but, like, her brother's children
Oh.
are super rich in the future, and one of them, I think it would be her nephew, basically dies of old age
Oh boy.
at the start of the play while being super rich and while not having any like children. So they go through like all the logs and they're like, oh, she's frozen and she's related to the family. She should inherit all the fortune. So she wakes up to a bunch of wealth and she doesn't know what to do with it. And she finds out that there's like space travel now and she's like, I'm gonna go to Pluto. And on the way there, she has like a wacky love story and disappointment and all that. I started writing this, and I was just not into it. I just did not like the concept. I just, it's hard to describe, but it just didn't click with me, and I didn't want to continue writing it.
Right.
And I think it still had a lot of the many failures of the previous script.
Like being too obvious at all enough.
That too, yes, absolutely. And also things just kind of like happening one after the other and too much dialogue. And
Yeah.
so I scrapped that idea. I went back to the drawing board again. I was like, if working from this base isn't working out for me, I should start from scratch. And I had this idea that I still really like, but I'm sad that I didn't get to do. Where it's a court drama.
Oh.
But
Okay.
the jury, you know, the 11 people
Is the
who
audience.
decide, yes,
Right.
I'm getting to that,
Yes.
are randomly chosen from the audience at the start of the play. And they sit there throughout the play on stage with the actors. And then, at the end of the play,
They decide.
they vote on whether or not the suspect is guilty or not guilty.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And there's two different endings based on their decision.
I would have really liked to see that.
Yeah.
When you said
Yeah.
that to me, I was like, that would have been so brilliant.
That's the thing, I didn't get any of it written.
Oh, dude.
All of it just stayed as an idea in my head. And the
No.
primary issue with that is that I'm not good at writing mystery. Someone who's
Dang.
good at writing like mystery and crime stories should really do this.
Yeah, please do that. That'd be so awesome.
But that someone is not me. Also, another idea that was like part of this was that I wanted to make it so that every ending seems like the bad ending.
Oh.
Because basically, the whole play is from the perspective of the, like, attorneys. Basically, either outcome, they're racked with guilt and doubt. So if the jury votes that the guy is innocent, the attorneys are like, but what if he wasn't? And it ends on this scene of like, what if we just sent a really dangerous person out back into the world? And the opposite, of course, is what if he was innocent, but
We killed him.
We put him. Oh, geez, that's some really high stakes stuff.
I know.
I should have done that.
Yeah.
I was about to say we put him in prison.
He's being tried for murder, Anton.
I mean,
Wouldn't that be funny?
It depends on. It wouldn't be funny, but that is way higher stakes.
I know.
Maybe you should write this, Simon.
I might.
Next
Actually,
year's play, 2021
I
play.
literally might. You're giving me ideas right now.
2020, man.
Just make sure that Youngford pays you for it.
Ooh.
I would do this out of passion for your idea because I like it.
Because, like, I regret not charging anything. 'Cause it was very much framed as, like, oh, you get to write the play. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. And now looking back on it, it's like every year he pays $150 for the script of whatever play we use. And I'm not expecting to get $150 out of this, but like any money would have been good. But you know, hindsight is 2020. Anyway, that idea was scrapped. The next idea
Really good idea.
is what I ended up doing. And that is Simon
Gets hit by a car.
Yes, it is. The opening is the same as the previous ideas. Simon gets hit by a car,
Frozen.
ends up in the future. But this time, it's because someone mysteriously unfroze him. And he suspects that the someone is his, best friend, me.
friend, yeah.
Best friend, buddies.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't really appear in the play outside of one scene.
Yeah.
But I am what Simon's trying to find the whole story. Because basically, he goes on a quest to meet up with his only friend who's not dead because of old age.
And a bunch of crazy crap happens.
Because we both ended up in the future. And yes, a bunch of crazy crap happens along the way.
No spoiler.
And we're not going to spoil
No spoil.
anything.
Nope.
But it's way more lighthearted than previous ideas. It's kind of like a wacky adventure in space with some action and some comedy, and
Friendship.
it's all about the value of friendship.
Yeah, friendship.
It's very entertaining.
In fact, it is called The Bus to Pluto, a space opera about the value of friendship.
That's the whole title?
There's a
Awesome.
title and a subtitle.
Oh, okay.
It's like Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
it's a fun play. It actually really is a fun play.
I mean, writing it was challenging.
Oh yeah.
Because I stayed up multiple nights just trying to get it done. And at this point, I was in Ukraine at my grandma's, where everything's terrible, like the internet and the electricity, and I didn't have a computer.
Everything's terrible.
So I bought a keyboard that connects to my phone,
Oh no.
and all the keys are tiny. So I would spend like every night up until like 3 in the morning. I'd just be like crouched on my bed, tapping on the little tiny keyboard, getting the play done.
That's dedication. That is dedication. Right
It
now.
ended up being like 110 pages.
And
it's
you
like-
cut a lot of those.
It's like 60,000 words.
you cut a lot. Of
And then in the rework phase, we got it down to 94 pages.
94. Wait, actually, I thought it was 80. Dang.
It's 94 pages right now in the uncondensed version.
Ooh.
The condensed version is smaller
Yes.
because it's smaller type and it's not double spaced.
Yes.
And yeah, reworks was pretty frustrating. During reworks, I cut one whole scene. I introduced a new whole scene. I shortened a lot of other stuff and reworked how a lot of the scenes like work and what they're about.
Writing's never done, is it? It's never done.
He's still like making comments on the script that I either approve or disapprove.
It's never done, dude.
Yeah, but the final product, I'm decently happy with. A lot of it was like, ooh, I can come up with a better idea, or ooh, I hear a better idea. A lot of it was also like, I hate this, but I'll approve of it. And then after a while, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was a pretty reasonable suggestion.
It kind of grew on you a little bit.
And kind of go on me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And yeah, and everyone's been working really hard to like memorize their lines and get their acting down.
Yep.
Simon's doing pretty solid.
Thank you.
I haven't seen Charlie dance yet. I'm
Wait,
big hyped
really?
though. I mean, you did the like, you did the beta version.
Yeah.
The beta.
It's
It's not because
similar.
he's a beta. It's because it's like
The
on
dance
beta.
beta.
This is a very gamer way of describing things.
like currently
the pre-patch.
like
Oh, yeah, the pre-patch.
the dance that I'm doing is pretty similar to what you saw.
It just added a few
so-
more.
We'll work on it. Yeah,
We just
we'll work on it.
Thanks, Moses.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Also, a lot of the costumes are very like high effort, so that'll be exciting to
This is
see.
mine.
Except for Simon, because he just dresses as Simon.
Hey,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what you said in the script. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, I'm not mad about it.
I'll
It's
take
good.
it.
It's good.
I will take it.
Yeah, it's unlike anything you've ever seen at Hinkson Place.
I promise you, yeah.
So if you went to a Hinkson play before and you like didn't really like it because it was kind of cringy, I get it. But give this a chance.
Oh.
This is completely different.
Yeah. This
We
is
will surprise you. I
Anton's
promise you
big
that.
brain putting his
Yeah,
heart and soul
exactly.
into this
Made
94
from
pages.
scrap.
An hour's of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has taken months off my life.
Yeah. you got it. It's really fun and entertaining. I like it.
I have gray hairs now.
I can
Yeah,
see
great
it.
before, bro. Don't worry about it.
So is that about it for the play?
Yeah. I'm sorry I hogged all the airspace.
No. We
No,
want
no.
you to have that
That's-
airspace.
that's great.
That
Use
was
your
interesting,
airspace.
actually.
For all
All the
that,
philosophy behind it.
all that education.
Because
Yeah.
during it, I was like, I'm monologuing.
I feel like
should let the host say something.
I feel like when we hear that Anton's writing a play, I feel like most people will respect like really funny bullcrap. You know?
I mean, I think that's awfully optimistic of you. I think something.
Fully optimistic.
I think a lot of people also have the reaction of either who or like, oh, not that guy.
Really? No, you sound so short, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that many people like me.
That's pessimistic.
I mean, I don't blame them. I have a very like polarizing character, let's say.
Right.
The glass is half empty.
Because it's like you either hate me or you love me. Because I'm just
Love it or
like that,
hate
you know?
it,
I'm not
just
like
be
other
fine.
girls.
Well, we love you.
Yeah.
So.
Aww.
Yeah.
This podcast is
Yeah.
about like showing the guests like good side.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks again for sharing. Now we're gonna move on to comment time.
Oh, comment time. All right,
Comment time.
Comment time.
So we've got 2 comments today.
Only 2.
First one from Tim A. Is it possible to come to the podcast again? So to answer that question, yes. If you've been a guest before, you can come back on. It's just that, like, for the HCP, we work in semesters. So if you were a guest in the first semester, you can't come again in the first semester. But if you'd like to, you can come again in the second semester.
Season 2, boys.
Oh yeah,
So-
season 2.
Yeah, there you go. That's the answer to that question. And
Reasonable.
Moses, you can read.
Oh, oh boy, it's from Anton Keeko.
Oh, I wonder
Says-
who that is.
First.
Wow, Anton
Wow.
was first on our
I was
list.
very proud of that.
Yeah.
It was like 10 a.m. and I just see the notification. It was like, Hinkson Christian Podcast uploaded a new episode. And I was like,
You ring the
"Ooh."
bell. You ring the bell.
I did ring the bell.
Dang.
Be like Anton,
As should
guys.
you,
Yeah.
listener.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
If you haven't yet,
Yeah.
scroll down, press the subscribe button,
Do it.
and press
Dude,
the bell.
I saw.
Yes.
Thank you. Love you.
When I looked at the episode, when it uploaded, I saw Anton's comment, and I'm like, dude, this man deserves a like.
Yes,
I
boy.
smashed that like.
Yeah, can you put a heart on it?
Oh, you want me to put a heart on it? We'll pin it too.
We'll do that.
Pin it, yes.
For every first comment, we start.
Yeah, you know, from now on, well,
We're
I
actually
don't know,
gonna
I
do
don't know
this.
if I can keep up with this.
I'll
but
do this.
honestly, in this episode, whoever types down first, I will heart the comment.
First.
Oh no.
No, Charlie, I'll help the comment if you can't do it. I'll help the comment.
All
It
right.
has begun.
Yes. The game.
All right. So yeah, that's it for comment time. For the second topic,
got-
Anton would like to talk about debates and
Ooh.
debating.
Anton's a very argumentative, debating
You
person.
love argumenting.
Yes.
It's
argumenting.
This is what I
Arguing.
expected from you.
Arguing.
Yeah.
Argumenting.
For some context, over the summer, I watched some stuff that taught me how to be a better debater. It taught me more about debates, both in a very
Oh, no.
friendly environment
And
and a very
aggressive.
civil environment, and both in a very non-friendly, aggressive environment, and how to kind of judge which is which. So dare I say, I'm feeling a little cocky, and I've been putting this stuff to the test, and it's been working for me pretty well. And during the summer, I had this idea of challenging different people at school to debates on different topics.
Oh no, he's gonna do it.
And I keep not being able to get around to it because I've been busy.
Oh no,
But
he's gonna call people out now.
all right, it's call out time. It's call out time.
no, no.
I'm sorry, I gotta do
This
it
is
to
this is
him.
the episode.
Okay, here we go.
This is it.
So my warm up, a good warm
Your
up
warm up.
would be Mr. Nathan Youngford.
Ooh.
Boy.
That's your warm up.
Dare I say, I feel pretty confident about that one.
All right.
Oh, hey. Hey.
All right.
No, we're actually trying to promote positive vibes on here.
Respectfully,
I mean,
respectfully.
this is respectful.
Okay, be respectful here.
There you go. So that's your warm up.
Oh my god.
That's a little bit.
All right, Charlie, prepare to bleep stuff out.
That's a little BM. You're my warm up, bro.
Oh.
That's a
Okay,
little
it's all in good spirit. It's all
little bit.
jest. He gets it.
Good.
But yeah, topic of his choice. Time of his choice.
Okay.
Some good options would be we could revisit the death penalty debate.
Oh yeah.
We could, in theory, we could do guns, but it would be weird because we're both pro-gun to an extent,
Oh.
just for very different reasons. We could also do American foreign policy because he seems. I'm not sure if I remember correctly, but from what I remember, he's a pretty hawkish dude. He's pretty American intervention supporting, and I'm not. So that's one person. Also, my friend, my good friend, my boy, my buddy, Sean Corrigan. Sean,
Please.
Sean,
Oh, no.
buddy.
No, please don't do it.
I just want to talk in front of a large audience
Oh.
about your big brain, big boy opinions on all of the things. Because let's face it, you're a very intelligent guy.
Yes.
You're much smarter than me. What do you have to fear, Sean? There's nothing to fear.
No. Oh, the call out.
Oh, I don't know about this, boys.
Okay.
Boys, I got a bad feeling.
Like I said, guys, get ready to have your episode banned.
You sure you don't want Sean to be the warm up? I mean.
No.
Boys.
Sean is the final boss.
Oh. Okay.
I can smell
See,
it.
Sean, this is how much confidence I have in you. Don't let me down. Don't let me down, buddy. I'll be waiting.
Oh no.
Also, there's Dr. Jones, but I would lose that.
He's pretty smart.
Dang.
Dr. Jones has such a way with words.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, he is very
This
impressive.
man went to law school.
That's true.
He
True.
went to law school.
Yeah,
You
if
did
I
not.
go to law school, I could probably beat Dr. Jones in a debate.
But you did not go to law
But at the moment, he's very good at phrasing things in a way where I can't think of a good response until like hours later.
Ha.
And
Yeah, see, I-
that makes me feel terrible.
I mean, I think everyone relates to that feeling of just like you have an argument and then like you think it'll come back like a billion years later. Like, oh
Yeah.
If only.
everyone relates.
I
Everyone
used,
relates
I used to have that with like everyone in my life.
Yeah.
Now I only have that with Dr. President.
The actual
The
final
big
boss.
cheese.
Final boss. Second phase final boss.
Nice.
So, yeah, that could be interesting to do, but I don't know if I can like. I don't know if I would be super into it.
His cockiness
Also-
has that limit. That's his limit of his cockiness.
That is my limit. Perfectly fair. Also, if we disagree on something, but you don't want to debate, you want to like actually talk through it with me and see our different perspectives, like in a one-on-one, no audience,
chill fashion.
chill discussion. I'm always down for that too. I'll say it right now. I'll drop the L bomb. I'm a leftist.
Oh.
I am pretty far left.
Right.
And most of the school is moderate conservative to pretty far right. I'm looking at you, Sean. So if you like wanna try and own me and put me in your epic SJW cringe compilation, come at me. But if you want to have a good discussion in the marketplace of ideas,
You really trying to start fires in here.
I'm down for that too.
You really come in here with a blowtorch?
I
Like,
smell smoke.
no, it smells funny.
Yeah. Also, I guess with that out of the way, I can kind of talk about the biggest thing that I kind of learned from. Well, this wasn't this summer. I knew this. I learned this last year, not this summer, but this helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Basically, when you're in a debate, when you're arguing with someone, you want to know if they're debating in good faith or in bad faith. So, a good faith debate is when you are legitimately trying to parse out what is the truth and where your disagreement comes from and who's right. And you are being very fair in your interpretations of your opponent's arguments, and your arguments you're trying to make as coherent and logical as possible.
Right.
That's good faith debate. Bad faith debate is when you are trying to use your opponent as a prop to convince an audience of something.
Yes.
For example, Benjamin Shapiro.
Oh boy.
Benjamin Shapiro frequently debates in very bad faith because he will invite people who are clearly much weaker debaters than him
College
to debate him.
He just has things for
College students. And then, he has like education in this and media training. So obviously he wins those debates in front of a big audience. And then he expands that audience even bigger by going online and making very clickbaity videos about, beating these people who are much weaker than him in a debate. That is bad faith debate. Now, this may sound like I'm saying you should always debate in good faith and never in bad faith. Not exactly.
Oh no.
Because here's the thing. You should never initiate debate in bad faith. I think if you initiate debate in bad faith, you are not very good. However, if someone is debating you in bad faith already, the only way for you to win is to also be bad faith. Because
Like Estes and Dark Souls.
debating in good faith against... Nobody's gonna get shot.
I know.
Debating in good faith against someone who's debating in bad faith is impossible. Because they will constantly be misinterpreting what you're saying deliberately. They'll be saying much less charitable interpretations of your arguments. And then they will be fighting those much easier to defeat interpretations of your arguments. They will be strawmanning you constantly. They will also occasionally throw in just straight up insults. And this makes them good, this makes them look good to most audience members. If you're not specifically, focusing on what's being said and the structure of the arguments, it is very easy to feel like the person who's debating in bad faith is winning. because they have the appearance of dominance. They're throwing in all the like cool gotchas and the funny jokes, and they're being like slightly condescending, but like in a funny way. This is sad truth. This is something you have to realize if you're going to try and debate people, especially in a non-formal setting. But sometimes when they pull out the bad faith, you gotta pull out the bad faith too. And that's the only way you win. And how that's relevant to me is a lot of the debates I've had at school before
Bad faith.
have been pretty bad faith. My intention with debates that I'm part of is to ensure that nobody like gish gallops, so nobody's like trotting out more arguments than can possibly reasonably be responded to, and that everybody cites sources.
Oh, that's helpful.
And that's why there's also going to be like at least a week of time between when we choose a topic and when the debate happens.
Because we need to research that,
Yes, we need to research and we need to advertise.
obviously.
Yeah.
That said, that doesn't prevent bad faith argumentation.
No, of course
It
not.
hinders it, but it doesn't prevent it. And yeah, if you want to see a bloodbath, you might just get it.
Ooh.
But also, please don't like try to incite that. I always want to start discussions good faith, and ideally stay good faith. But if something's fishy, I'm not putting up with that. Also, this is like an anti-call out. This is a positive call out.
Call in.
Call in.
Call in.
Mrs. Fredka, Charlie's mom, is one of the best faith argumentators that I've ever butted heads with.
Oh, that's what you think.
Like, honestly, she argues in really good faith.
I think so too.
And it's like we're having a genuine discussion about real things instead of trying to score points against each other.
Because I've seen you, like, in Willview go off, bro.
I mean, that's the thing, though. When I go off, she, like, acknowledges this I agree with, this I don't agree with, this I agree with, instead of just, like, instead of trying to score points against me.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of trying to make it a game, we're always, like, talking about the issue at hand. And sometimes she'll be like, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying, but... And that's a pretty good faith thing to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I try to stick to that as well. And, yeah, that's the thing. If you haven't, like, spent a lot of time on this, it's hard to tell sometimes which is good faith and which is bad faith. You can have a very good faith discussion, but with a very aggressive tone.
Oh, yeah.
I've
Yes.
been there a lot. We had one earlier this year.
We did.
And that's fine. It's not about tone. It's about content. It's about whether or not the points are being addressed. It's about substance, and the style is kind of like a side effect. Bad faith discussion is when you're focusing all on style and you're just posturing.
You're just, like, flexing, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen you start arguments in class. All right, our class is 100% more argumentative because of you. All right, which is a good thing, but like a lot of people when you argue, they feel like you're attacking them rather than their points, right? And so how would you address that? People who do that.
That's partly an issue with my tone.
Yeah.
I'll acknowledge that immediately. I come off as way too aggressive. It's something I'm trying to work on. I'm sorry if I've hurt anyone's feelings.
I mean, we're all trying to improve here,
debating
right?
with them. That said, I also think a part of it is an issue of not being an experienced debater.
Yeah.
Because I always try to keep my debates in good faith. And sometimes, despite being in good faith, I come off as aggressive and attacking.
Yes.
But if whoever I'm arguing with, like, had more experience debating and knew the difference, they would see that and they would take it that way.
That's a fair point.
But that is kind of victim blamey, isn't it?
It is kind of, yeah.
Because what's easier to change is my tone than everyone immediately suddenly becoming
Good debaters.
good debaters.
Like, debating is not
that's
everybody's
fair.
skill.
That is fair.
There's like a very select few people with like a talent in debating.
Yeah, I think it's more like learning than talent, but
That's
yeah.
what everyone in every profession would say.
I mean, like, I used to be terrible. I, like, actually used to be really bad at any confrontational situations. And now I thrive on them.
Through hard work and perseverance, right?
Primarily through osmosis. Primarily through watching content creators who
Are good at it.
are debaters. Watching a lot of people who are debaters
Yeah.
is very good, especially if you not only watch debates themselves, but you also watch debate breakdowns where they talk about, oh, here I used this tactic, there I used that tactic, and what each means, and like what different problems with different arguments are. Because if you kind of learn to understand that,
Yeah.
it becomes very instinctive, and that's the like knowledge part of it. And then the kind of like more natural part of it, of like your confidence and stuff like that, you learn through just seeing other people do it. Debate is very much, it's less about concepts than it is about the relationships between concepts.
Yeah.
So, because when you make an argument, you have premise, conclusion.
Yes.
So you have two ideas, and you try to say that whatever your third idea is derives logically from the first two.
Yes.
So you very much have to be good at understanding the relationships between concepts rather than the concepts themselves. You have to, like, it's in math when there's letters. You have to look past the letter because it's a variable. It's all about how the letters relate to each other, not what the letter is.
Somebody a math nerd now?
Same thing with arguments. Don't get me wrong, I still can't do math.
Right, yeah.
But in an argument, sometimes, not even sometimes, most of the time, you have to look past what's being said, and you have to look at how what's being said is being related to itself and to other things, and whether or not those relationships like follow through and actually logically create the new piece of information, the third piece.
Yes.
A good place to start is studying what logical fallacies are,
Oh, yeah.
because most people use a lot of fallacies, either intentionally or not intentionally. And if you can learn to like call that out, to be like, oh, hey, you know, for example, you made an appeal to ignorance. You said that, hey, we don't know why X happened, therefore Y did it. That's very clearly
A fallacy.
Yeah, that's a fallacy. It doesn't follow through. A fallacy is all about invalid relationships between concepts.
Ah.
So something being fallacious doesn't necessarily mean it's false. It just means that the way the conclusion was arrived at
Is faulty.
is
He's dying.
it's incorrect. It
Smash
doesn't
like
follow.
on giving the speech while dying.
Just Google this stuff. It's easy. I'm done. I'm ranting too long. I'm sorry.
No, that was good, dude.
All the comments should just be okay, Boomer. I talked too long.
Boomer.
I talked way too long.
No, because you had a lot of stuff to say,
Yeah, it's all good.
which is like really valuable.
I always have a lot of stuff to say.
Yeah.
I'm always rambling.
But it's good rambling. It's a lot of good fresh content. And like you ramble like while dying mid cough, like that's impressive.
So is that it for debates?
Is that all you
Yeah,
got?
that's basically all I have to say.
Cool.
I mean, yeah.
That was entertaining.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm definitely a lot smarter because of that speech.
Yeah.
Big brain.
Yeah, you're welcome for letting you each talk for 3 minutes at least.
Oh man.
All right, well then that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Make sure to leave a comment. We need comments for comment time. And hey, if you want to be a guest, like Anton was, grace us with his presence, you know, you can contact one of us, me, Chuck, or Moses. We'd love
Yes.
to push you on the list, man. You know?
Smash that like button.
Yes.
And the
Comment
bell.
first.
Comment first. You gotta comment first.
Come on, I got a comment first.
Follow Anton's example of commenting first.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.